Countries around the world are fighting the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, not least in Nigeria, which is already tackling its own fiscal challenges. Yet, these policies had economy-wide implications, implying that even exempted sectors were indirectly affected by disruption to supply chains and falling consumer demand. After its first confirmed case, Nigeria's federal and state governments implemented lockdowns across most cities and states. This included closing all borders and many non-essential businesses in 2020. Nigeria also faced declining remittances and export demand caused by the global recession. Thanks for joining us today on the program TV and Business Daily. I am Chiwendu Osisiego, and today we shall be discussing on the continuous impact of the COVID-19 on the Nigerian economy. Before we proceed with that, let's look at the business stories making headlines. Stay with us. Vice President Yemi Osibajo on Tuesday met with some stakeholders in the oil and gas industry in continuation of the federal government's consultations ahead of the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill, currently before the National Assembly. Osibajo's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Olaolu Akande, disclosed this in a statement on Wednesday titled Petroleum Industry Bill, producing largest oil volumes possible at cheaper costs, tells oil and gas stakeholders. The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawa, had told reporters on Tuesday that there were forces within and outside the country that would work against the passage of the bill, which the President Muhammadu Buhari presented to the National Assembly in September 2020. The central aim of the bill, which was passed second reading in both the Senate and the House of Representatives, is to forestall a sustainable development in Nigerian oil and gas industry. The Nigerian equity market on Thursday sustained its positive outlook for the third trading section as the all-share index and market capitalization rose by 0.11%. The market spread closed positive as the number of gainers at the close of trading section was 32, while decliners were 16. The all-share index gained 45.1 basic points or 0.11% to close at 40,341.05 as against 40,296.95 recorded the previous day, while the market capitalization of equities appreciated by 24 billion naira to close at 21.09 trillion naira from 21.07 trillion naira as market sentiment remained on the green zone. I beg your pardon. Meanwhile, a turnover of 468.34 million shares exchanged in 5,702 deals was recorded in the day's trading. The insurance subsector was the most active, measured by turnover volume, with 152.09 million shares exchanged by investors in 436 deals. The Naira suffered further setback as the parallel market and investors and exporters forex window on Tuesday. The Central Bank of Nigeria, and according to a figure obtained from the Bureau of the Change Operators, the Naira exchanged to the dollar for 473 per dollar at the parallel market. It had earlier gained in the recent times after it closed the year 2020 as 467 per dollar. At the investors and exporter window, the Naira fell by 0.17% to close at 394 per dollar on Tuesday. It reached a low of 401 at the NIE window at the close of 2020. The Central Bank of Nigeria, however, maintained the official exchange rate at 379 naira per dollar on its website. The Association of Bureau of Change Operators of Nigeria recently appealed to the Central Bank of Nigeria to make BDCs pay out agents for diaspora remittances. And that's the business update on Television Nigerian. I am Chiwendu Osisiego. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly.
My name is Chiwendu Osisiego, presenter Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed, and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business. I mean, your business. Why don't you take advantage of our special affordable offer to let the world know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080-3071-6 6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern.
Thanks for staying with us on the program, and in case you're just joining us, it's TVN Business Daily. Like I stated earlier, we shall be discussing on the continuous impact of the COVID-19 on the Nigerian economy. My guest is in the studio. He is a journalist and a PR practitioner, Mr. Julius Uga. Welcome to TVN Business.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing you this year, so let me just say Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Happy New Year, Nigeria. Happy New Year to you too.
So how did you celebrate your New Year?
I was cool and reflective and hoping that 2021 is a better experience than 2020 was.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's talk about this COVID-19, the impact of the COVID-19 on the Nigerian economy. You know, looking back to 2020, we realized that we actually went through a lot, you know, with the lockdowns and all that. It affected a lot of things. So now we're in 2021. What do you foresee, like the impact of this COVID-19 on the Nigerian economy?
Well, we saw this coming. Don't forget that at the last quarter of 2020, the economy slid back into recession, and the government had forecast or predicted that the economy will slide back from recession in the first quarter of 2021. By the time that those prognostications were made, it was not expected that the second wave of COVID-19 will come hitting hard. And lo and behold, it is with us. The effect is that it affects the economy of scale. It's going to affect production, it affects manufacturing, it affects transportation, it affects the pricing of commodities, it affects demand and supply, and invariably it also has an impact on inflation. So we're in for what you might call a rough ride, and only some kind of dogged management, economic management, will save us from the situation.
Okay, looking at the number of deaths now, I think in this year we have a large number of people that have died from this COVID-19. Yesterday, yes, when I was going through the news, I know that we had over 100,000 people that contracted this COVID-19. So how would you say people should actually live this period of COVID-19? And how do you expect businesses to survive?
Business owners just have to, if you like, think out of the box and live in the moment, live in the go. We can't, without business, there's basically no existence. Commercial activities are what keeps people, no matter what it is they do for a living, is what keeps people going. So the high rate of death means that the rate of infection is also growing. And if you like, we are not in a malaria endemic season right now. But if you look around, you see that the number of people coming down with malarial symptoms and typhoid fever symptoms is on the rise. And you really can't attribute this to COVID-19. But again, we find a connection because we've been informed that some of these symptoms are indicative of infections of COVID-19. In less than 3 months, 2 months precisely, in less than 2 months, the figure has all of a sudden hit the figure of number of people infected in Nigeria has hit 100,000. It took a lot of time. It was climbing. Every day we used to have like 400, 500, 700, and then all of a sudden we're having 1,000 and more a day. So globally, the number is getting to close to 88 million. And the number of deaths globally is getting closer and closer to 2 million. The number of deaths in Nigeria is still below 2,000, officially recorded. But the number of people dying all around, it's not everybody that has, died that actually you know, you can attribute to COVID-19, but that figure is on the rise. And this means that as citizens, as people, as business owners, and as the government and the presidential task force on the coronavirus is trying to advise us, we should live consciously, cautiously. Be consciously cautious of our environment. If you're moving around, observe what they say we should observe as preventive measures for ourselves. Because a lot of people are asymptomatic. It means that I'm sitting next to you and I'm probably having COVID-19 and I don't know I'm having it. I just move around dashing people COVID-19. And so they're advising us, wear your face mask, avoid crowds, let's see how we can get this thing under control, because it's not just affecting us and we're getting sick and we're dying. It's affecting business, it's affecting the national economy to a very large scale. We just we were just having another partial lockdown. The extension for resumption dates for school we've been advised to extend the resumption dates for school. Universities just called off strikes, but they can't fully resume because of COVID-19. Even though normal commercial activity seems to be going on every day, we know that if we are not careful, this second wave, which some people have described as a tsunami, is going to do away with a lot of people. So we just have to be careful, and business owners have to be consciously cautious and advise people to take necessary precautions to save themselves. Okay. Yes, you have to be alive to do business.
Yes, definitely. So now with the confirmed cases of COVID-19 of about 100,000 people, okay, now do you foresee another lockdown?
Already we're in a partial lockdown. I do not foresee a full-scale lockdown because there are so many economic factors that discourage that. We're in a high inflation season, the economy is in recession, so we can't go into that type of lockdown that was imposed last year when the pandemic began to spread worldwide. So I do not foresee that kind of activity because it's going to cause probably even social upheaval. Yes, because people will use the reason for hunger to say, I have to be alive in order to be afraid of COVID-19. So true. I don't foresee a blanket lockdown.
All right, thank you. So now what can you say about various sectors that have been affected? Let's talk about the agricultural sector, for example. You know, going to the market now, you realize that things in the market are now double of what they used to be last year. Now, if you want to buy, for example, if you want to buy a sachet of tomatoes in the markets, over the last year, it was increased to 150, but now you cannot even see it for 150. It's now 200 naira. So what can you say about sectors that have been affected by this COVID-19?
Agriculture, for instance, we're in a season when food prices naturally ought to be coming down. It ought to be lower because we're in harvest season. But because of inflationary trends carried over from last year, and then this COVID-19 stuff, it has helped to aggravate, or if you like, consolidate the inflation that we thought at this moment should naturally, be receding, as it were. So what we have to do is, the government has taken, I don't know whether COVID-19 was the reason why they took the preemptive action of reopening the borders. I think it is also in a bid to help the free flow of goods and commodities across the different countries, especially because Nigeria is a signatory of the Continental Free Trade Agreement. Having said that, I would have said, if not for this, it was not yet a good time to open the borders of the country because it is going to affect local agricultural productivity. If you like, we closed the borders, we didn't close the seaport. So what the government was trying to do in closing the borders was to ensure that people making importations through Nigeria come through our ports and pay duty at the appropriate channels, not for you to come and land your products in Cotonou or Porto Novo and then you pay duty there, and you ship them by road, and then you just, if you like, you just smuggle them into Nigeria, and you shortchange the Nigerian government. The closure of the borders helped the smuggling of rice. And because it was a very difficult decision to take. Because it was a very difficult and controversial decision to take, and Nigeria had become used to that decision after it had been imposed for over a period of time, I think the government should have stood its ground and left the borders closed so that local agricultural production is consolidated upon. Because if you like, people have gotten used to Nigerian rice, and people have started setting up rice mills in smaller places, and other people have even set up big rice production companies. Yesterday I saw an investor here in Abuja who has invested in rice production, who came, lamenting, and I was just telling my colleagues in the mill that, you see, this is part of the problem of the reopening of the borders. Because people are just going to fall back to say foreign rice is cheaper, Nigerian rice is more expensive, it has impurities, and have a reason for all of this. So this lockdown has forced the reopening of the borders. I don't want to think it is a lockdown that caused it, because we went into recession, and this happened within that period in which we went back into recession. So maybe the government is trying to say, okay, let's ease restrictions to see if there will be a more free flow of goods and commodities to keep the prices down. If that is it, it is a good decision. But other than that, like I said, the disadvantage is a long-term effect on the agricultural sector in Nigeria. And as an agriculturist, I don't think I like it.
Okay, against the government, just opening the border.
Yes.
Wow. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Julius Oga. We're taking a quick break now. Then after the break, we'll continue with our discussion. Please stay with us.
Osisiago, presenter Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed, and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business. I mean, your business. Why don't you take advantage of our special affordable offer to let the world know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080-3071-6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern.
Thanks for joining us again, and if you're just joining us, it's TVN Business Daily, and we've been discussing on the continuous impact of COVID-19 on the Nigerian economy. My guest has been discussing with us on that. He's a journalist and a PR practitioner, Mr. Julius Oga. Okay, now we've talked about mostly the impact of the COVID-19 on the Nigerian economy and Nigerians at large. So now, how would you advise, Nigerians to manage this period, especially with the level of unemployment in the country?
Yes. Necessity, we say, is the mother of invention. We are in a situation where man must survive. And some people who are not emotionally and psychologically strong will resort to antisocial activities like crime and all of that. Other than that, it's hard situations always force people to innovate. Business owners know this. The economists and the planners of the economy know this. Innovation means that we think out of the box, and we begin to think of enterprise and small businesses. Small businesses are, if you like, the petrol that drives the economy. So we should put our attention in small businesses. Our public sector is basically unproductive. There's no public department that produces, there are very few. The majority of public departments don't produce something that brings in revenue. Rather, they survive on government subventions and allocations from the national budget. And this is not right. So there's no reason why most government departments should just be bureaucracies outside of, if you like, customs and NNPC and the revenue agencies. Most of these departments should actually begin to think, what value are we adding to the economy other than being bureaucracies? And this is what, when you add value, there is likely to be employment generation. Employment generation does not just come from government creating businesses and employing people. Government is not a good manager of business. So government can play its role by creating an enabling environment that encourages enterprise. And some of these things are infrastructure. This particular government is investing heavily on infrastructural development. They need to encourage more growth in the power sector, and they need to encourage more growth in basic infrastructure, things that you can rely on and pivot your business on, that just reduces the cost of investment in business, because the cost of doing business discourages a lot of people, even those who have the spirit of enterprise. So one would call on us to innovate, think out of the box, be proud and have dignity, have a sense of dignity in labor. Even eating food is stressful. And when I come across a lot of a young segment of our population telling you they don't want stress, then how do you want to live? Yes, what do you define as stress? Eating food is stress, because you need to prepare the food. And you need to serve it, and you need to sit down, and you need to eat, and you need to wash the plates. So if you think in this line, in the sense of doing business, you know that perseverance helps. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Julius Oga. So you've advised people to be innovative instead of just staying at home, to be hardworking. But talking about people that are actually at home, that lost their job, and now most of their savings have been spent on probably one thing or the other, because a man must eat to survive. So now you are advising people to actually invest and all that. How do you expect them to actually get this money you're talking about to invest or innovate?
It will be living in denial to say that there is a paucity of resources that help people to invest in business. I will be denying the fact, and it will be very obvious. Again, let us cut our coat according to our size. If you used to buy a bag of rice and you finish it in 2 months, yes, meaning you should begin to think that, how can we possibly live on that bag of rice for 2 months and 1 week? Is it possible? Make the experiment. Our women folk are very, very economical. And some of us in the middle classes are also very wasteful. We waste electricity, we waste water, we waste food, probably because it may not have come, we may not have gotten it in a very, very difficult way. We should learn to live frugally. And we are not the worst off in the world. We are not in the worst possible situations. There are countries where people that are much more poorer than we are in this particular society of ours. So I think we should persevere. The government is trying to sometimes, give incentives for small businesses. They do this in the agricultural sector. They are doing this in through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, giving people small capital to start businesses. Yes, I have mentioned before that a lot of it is fraud in corruption, middleman racketeering. And these are people you can call economic saboteurs who come between the good intentions of the government for the ordinary people and try to make capital out of it. If you have a business sense, don't go and lay ambush for what government is providing for poorer people. Use your business sense to develop bigger ideas that you can also employ people and make more money, rather than waylaying money that is supposed to be given to somebody. Someone is supposed to get 5,000 naira. A poor person can manage 5,000 naira. A rich man will blow 5,000 naira in the next 1 hour. Yes, a poor person can manage 5,000 naira and feed his family and even start a business with it. And the government has been trying to do that. So for some of us who have lost jobs, and if you have lost a job, maybe you were a middle-ranking civil servant, you find the fact that you have to come back and start queuing up to get 5,000 naira is, in the first place, it's not even meant for you anyway. But you find it undignifying, personally. So at least enable those who are qualified for it to get it. And this way, if we continue to generate enterprise like our people do across the country, we will manage to survive in the hardship.
No matter what. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Julius. All right, before we conclude, what's your final take?
On?
Your final conclusion.
Okay, yes, Nigeria's economy is in recession. Yes, the borders have opened again, so maybe just to aid the economy to come out of recession. Yes, there is hunger in the land. Yes, there is COVID-19, and COVID-19, like was projected from the first outbreak, is not about to go away too soon. Let us, as people, as a country, remain positive-minded. There's a lot that positivity does to the human being, and it engenders hope. When there is hope, there is life. So let us continue to be hopeful, let us live positively and think positively and help towards the growth of ourselves and our country. We must love this country. If we don't love this country, nobody will love it on our behalf. Nobody will come and build it for us. So talking down on our country, things are bad, this and that, yes, they are. We have played a role in making things bad. So we should jointly take responsibility to make things good again, going forward.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Julius Oga, for coming on TVN. Okay, you've said it that we should remain positive-minded, we should be hopeful, and we should think positive to help towards the growth of ourselves and, of course, the country. Thank you so much for coming on TVN.
It's
good
pleasure
to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you.
Yeah.
And as we all know that COVID-19 is real, as we go on our daily activities, let's not forget to take precautions like using your face masks, avoiding maintaining social distancing, and always make sure you wash your hands regularly. And that's the much we have for you today on TVN Business Daily. I am Chirendu, this is Cecilia. And don't forget that you can follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on Twitter and Television Nigerian. Do have a wonderful day. Bye for now.